If you drive across central Alberta, you'll cross the Battle River without much thought. It's small, unassuming, more creek than river in some stretches. But the valley it sits in, that valley is massive. Deep coulees, wide flats, and a landscape carved for something much bigger than what flows through it today. So why does a modest prairie river sit at the bottom of such an oversized valley? And why did so many small towns choose to settle along its banks? Hello and welcome to the video. If this is your first time here, my name is Mike. If you've been here before, my name is still Mike, but you would have known that already. The answer starts about 13,000 years ago. When the glaciers retreated, they left behind a massive lake, Lake Edmonton. When that lake drained, the water carved out what became the Battle River Valley. The valley you see today wasn't shaped by the Battle River at all. It's a remnant of something far more powerful. By the time settlers arrived in the late 1800s, the Cree and Blackfoot had already named it. The Battle River got its name from the conflicts fought along its banks, territory disputes that played out in the shelter of the valley itself. When homesteaders moved in, they followed that same logic. The valley offered shelter from the prairie wind, water for livestock, and timber for building. Towns began to appear. Donalda in 1906, named after the wife of a Canadian Pacific Railway official. Hardisty in 1907, a rail hub that became the heart of a farming district, and Viking in 1908, settled largely by Scandinavian immigrants who saw the valley and thought of home. Farther west, Forestburg grew around coal mining. Galahad and Heisler emerged as grain elevators went up, and Alliance and Castor became service centers for the surrounding farms. None of these towns were large, but they didn't need to be. They existed because the valley existed. In 1928, Canadian National Railway built a trestle near Fabian, over 300 meters long, crossing the valley in a series of timber spans. It stood until the 1980s. Today, a steel replacement still crosses the same spot, a reminder that the valley remains something you have to account for, even now. The Battle River didn't create these towns, the valley did. That oversized geography, carved by glacial floods, sheltered by steep banks, and dotted with trees and water, made settlement possible in a landscape that could otherwise feel impossibly open. The river itself was almost incidental. What mattered was the break in the prairies, the place where you could build something that felt protected. Today, these towns are still there, smaller than they were in some cases, fewer grain elevators and fewer people, but they haven't disappeared. Donalda still sits where Meeting Creek joins the river, Viking still overlooks the valley from its perch on the north bank, and the Fabian Trestle still carries freight across the same crossing it has for nearly a century. The Battle River remains small, the valley remains large, and the towns that grew up in between remain shaped by both. Quiet, practical places that understood the land they were built on and stayed because of it. So if you enjoyed this little journey, give that like button a tap. It's free and oddly satisfying. If you haven't subscribed yet, just know I share a new story every week, weather permitting of course. Feel free to pass this along to your aunt, your neighbor, or that one friend who still thinks Alberta ends at Calgary. They need this more than they know. And you'll find Gradient Imaging on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok because apparently I'm not busy enough. But until next week, drive safe, wave at strangers, and take the scenic route.